If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that's a blow made.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
Stand up and take on the greed and corruption of the ruling class of this country.
The billionaire class has been taking everything, and the working class has been left scraping, paycheck to paycheck, just trying to survive.
The police department, the FBI, the CIA, those are gangs. You know what I mean? The correctional office. America is the biggest gang in the world.
A solidarity which fears not foreign invasion, because it is bringing all the workers to the point when they will say to their masters, go and do your own killing. We have done it long enough for you.
It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Guys and gals and in-between pals, welcome to the Left 4 Dead podcast, that radical left-wing show that your crazy conservative uncle warned you about. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Dane Snudden, dubbed the gayest straight man in Green Bay by my queer counterpart. And as always, I am joined by our woke uncle, James Harris.
Wunkle.
And the chaos queen herself, Emma Embers.
Hey, got demoted to third.
And no specific order.
Just temporarily.
Yeah, just temporary.
And unfortunately, we've got some bad news. We had a very, very special guest planned for this week, but, you know, scheduling happens. People are very busy.
Politicking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crises wait for no person. So it is not going to happen this week, but it is going to happen.
That being said, a lot of shit to talk about.
Do you think we can spoil who the guest is going to be since we can't?
I think we
We
should
already did.
say it. Did we?
Not on episode. Not on episode. It's going to be Francesca Hong.
Yes, we will be having the one and only Francesca Hong on the show. So stay tuned for that. We got a lot of news to talk about and cover today. I don't even.
I got a good place to start.
Okay.
Okay.
But
So, well, you know, I beat you to the mic, so. Okay, so Trump has tried to deploy a bunch of National Guard troops to Portland, I want to say. And it keeps getting blocked by judges he appointed, which I think is hilarious. So
Very.
he couldn't deploy the Portland troops. So then he tried to deploy the California troops, which also got blocked by a judge he appointed. So then he tried to send Texas troops, which now got blocked. A judge issued an injunction against National Guard troops from all 50 states getting sent to Portland under federal control. So these are, I think most of them were Trump appointed judges. So I think that's a good sign that even his people are getting sick of his shit a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, on top of that, there was a huge ICE raid in Chicago where ICE agents were literally like descending from Black Hawk helicopters into just regular neighborhoods on the south side. And
primarily people of color neighborhoods.
Yes, right, exactly. And rounding up these people of color who are U.S. citizens, and they were housing them in separate vans, zip tying little kids. I think there was reports of some of the kids even being like naked, being zip tied. Yeah, and
one of them was a 2-year-old. That picture was unsettling.
Yeah, and I mean, it just goes to show that we have an episode titled "If Not Gestapo, Then Why Gestapo Shaped." Like, this is we're literally living through the First They Came poem, like IRL. Like,
yep.
It was
Step by step.
first they came for immigrants, and I didn't speak up. I mean, I did speak up, but you know, in the poem, I didn't.
The general American
did not speak up because I wasn't an immigrant, and it's like now they're on step 2 of that.
Yep, and I'm given It's quieted down a little bit, but I think they're still working on, because while yes, technically the news about them wanting to designate trans people as a radical violent extremist group, as a group, like if you are in any way trans or trans supporting, you are a violent extremist by this designation. While that's not technically been enacted, it's being pushed by the Heritage Foundation, which is the same people that push Project 2025, which Trump is basically doing every step of, but actually worse in a lot of situations. There are several areas where he's actually going further than Project 2025 recommended. So I personally don't see any situation where that doesn't come true, where they don't end up enacting that, especially since they've already laid the groundwork by doing the Antifa designation.
I'll push back a little bit. I think that there is plenty of situations where that doesn't happen. And the reason I say that is I think people I'm not just going to say right-wing people, I'm going to say people on all sides of this political spectrum are slowly realizing that they're getting lied to. Like it doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum is on. Your representatives, they lie to you. They distort the truth. They create false narratives about literally everything. Mm-hmm. Like my sister, diehard MAGA, doesn't hate trans people. Like I didn't have to convince her. She just said that now if somebody's over the age of 18, they can live their life literally however they want. Like she does not hate trans people. Most MAGA don't. They just hate what party leadership have told them a trans person is, right. But they're slowly starting to realize that. And I saw a bunch of pushback on some of this, even in r/conservative. They're like, no, I don't think this is accurate. So,
well, that's nice.
Something's
right. Yeah.
It's always a bright side somewhere.
Well, and Americans, we've got this really long history of refusing to be told what to do, which can be a real pain in the ass sometimes. But on the flip side, like you've got a culture of refusing to listen to authority that's only going to push so far.
Yeah.
I think that it is also crazy the level of the way that Capitol is working with the Trump admin. I mean, we all knew that this was going to happen. That's like a characteristic of fascism. But what I'm referring to for our listeners is that Apple removed the IceBlock app, which is an app, if you're not aware, that was designed to allow people to kind of report ICE raids, similar to like how on Google Maps you can report like, hey, there's a pig here, or like there's construction, whatever, like that.
Tickets.
Yeah, no, I know. It's super cool that Google Maps has that. But just like with Google Maps, that app can sometimes be incorrect. And nonetheless, it's been helpful for a lot of people. And it's gone now. You can't download it because it was threatening the Trump administration.
Yeah, and I think like the level of corporate involvement in the government is not surprising because this is what they've been leading up to for ages. Like we're just in a new Gilded Age at this point and have been for the last 50 years. But it's like the Gilded Age where things were bad for us and great for them. But I don't think we all really expected the depths of
right.
blatant corruption and influence buying that we've been like. If you had told me a year ago that the FIFA president would walk in with the FIFA trophy and show it to Trump and then give him like a shitty knockoff version just because he said that he wanted it, and that Tim Cook, I almost said Tim Apple, Jesus, Tim Apple came in and gave him like this weird ass gold iPhone shit, and like they're literally giving tribute to the king for favorable policy, and that's what the whole thing with Jimmy Kimmel was. They blocked they suspended Jimmy Kimmel because the FCC was like, hey, maybe we want to prove that multi-billion-dollar merger you want. And then when Disney was losing literally millions of subscribers overnight as a result of that, they were like, okay, hold on, the finances aren't working out this way, so let's bring Kimmel back.
Well, it shouldn't be that surprising because corporations, like their money is their ethics. They will do literally whatever as long as it turns a profit. And don't stop boycotting Disney just because they brought Kimmel back. No,
Right.
there's this very, very brief period when I stand for Disney a tiny bit, and that was specifically when it was Disneyland versus Ron DeSantis, because that shit was hilarious.
That was like a classic case, like with Kimmel, where I'm like, why are you making me defend Disney? Fuck you.
I want to, Emma, as always, you're the queen of transitions into,
That's
I didn't,
terrible.
no pun intended.
Been working on it for a while.
No
uncle
pun-
status joke right there. My status is the show's
I'm
uncle.
making it constantly. Every time I say the word transition or trans in any way that's not related to that, I kind of make like a face, because I'm like, it's also partially joking about how like MAGA, or at least the MAGA people in charge, have been like freaking the fuck out about anything that has trans in it, like the transgenic mice bullshit.
Yeah, there was no pun intended with that. But
right, okay.
You had mentioned FIFA, and so I thought this was very interesting and kind of wild. As many of you are probably aware, the World Cup in 2026 is going to be held in the United States.
Oh, so
that
Americans...
being said, the US and FIFA have announced that Iran's team is going to be denied visas to come into the US.
For fuck's sake. They've literally done nothing. Like, this is another case of why the fuck are you making me defend these people? Because the government of Iran is legitimately shitty and terrible. They're awful. They're bad people. They should not be supported and liked or in any way.
No thanks to us.
However, that doesn't mean that the shit we do to them is justified. Just like with Venezuela. The Maduro government is a bad government. It is an authoritarian government. They don't have fair elections anymore.
Maduro's kind of based. We could get into that another time.
I like parts of Maduro, but overall, like, just hypothetically, if we just go with the sentiment of he sucks and is an authoritarian, like they've been trying to do. They've also been trying to do regime change on Venezuela, Iran, and multiple other countries for literally since Bush. Actually, technically,
did we ever really? No, we never stopped.
Right. Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Go back to Iran. That was like 1958. Iran was really close. 1953. Thank you. They're becoming a democracy. They're having democratic elections. We overthrew the Shah of Iran to protect oil interests. We installed a dictator. Dictator did dictator things, and Iran has been in hell ever since. And then we're judging Iran for being the thing that we created. But no, the United States has never, at least since World War II, we have not stopped for a moment messing with, foreign heads of states and trying to install friendly regimes. We've changed the tactics, but we never stopped doing it.
Yeah, Trump has been like Trump is in a number of different ways actually kind of like refreshing in a sense, because he's the neocon of neocons who's literally like just dropped all the pretense and everything, and he's just like, fuck it, who cares if we blow up a few fishing boats of innocent Venezuelans? We'll just say they're drug cartels, and who gives a fuck? Like, they're not even doing like the hardcore messaging and manipulation and stuff that Bush and them were doing for like Iraq, for example. They're just going like, yeah, whatever, it was drug terrorists or something. If you guys don't believe us, who gives a fuck? We'll make jokes about killing them. And they've been very open about wanting to get rid of Iran, the Iranian government, and the Venezuelan government, and several other governments.
Yeah, I think it's
refreshing in that it's upfront, I guess, but also
it's worse because it's normalized.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting with this world. I mean, I'm not like a huge soccer fan by any means, but I thought about this when I read the news about them denying Iran visas. What do y'all think ICE is going to be on during the World Cup? We're going to have a lot of people coming over here.
Same thing as the Super Bowl. They're going to be like pressuring everybody, making everybody feel unsafe, and probably just grabbing whatever random brown people they can.
No, they're gonna. I think ICE is gonna fuck up by then, and by fuck up is that they're gonna accidentally grab a brown person that has money, And when they grab a brown person that has money, there is going to be some outrage.
I don't know, because they've been getting some fairly, well, I was trying to say fairly powerful people, but they're really not that powerful now that I think about it. But I do. So
Well, they're going to screw. They're going to accidentally pick up somebody that's got like oil money, and that person that's got oil money is going to be able to leverage their influence, and something's like it's just a matter of time. It's not sustainable.
Are there any non-white people that have oil money?
Plenty of people. Have you heard of the House of Saud?
Oh well, yeah, but we're not going to do shit to them. We love them.
Yeah, but yeah, you're correct. But ICE is not the most competent of people. Remember?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they could see like random Arabian person and be like, and then suddenly it's like, that's the.
Emma, you cut out.
Oh,
but
sorry.
Yeah, you can't tell me that ICE is going to know the difference between House of Saud and an Iranian.
Yeah,
like you're going to be like, oh, it's a brown person that prays to Allah.
Close enough.
Did you guys also hear that many? I know Kilmar was, but many of the deportees are being deported to Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've switched to Uganda now, and there's a couple other spots, but Uganda's the big one. But
it's just crazy.
And then the Supreme Court was like, yeah, no, you can totally deport people to countries they've never been to or have no connections to whatsoever. And that's another case of the Supreme Court saying, yeah, we're not actually the Supreme Court. We're just the administration's personal legalize everything you do for the next 40 years arm. And it's a good example of what we've been talking about before in several different episodes about how Republicans always do these long-term plans that last multiple decades and that are deceptively hidden for most of that period, so you don't really notice it until it's too late and they pop it all out there. And a good example of that is the Supreme Court, because Clarence Thomas was always insane. Samuel Alito was always insane. But Roberts actually at least gave off the veneer of being like a swing vote, like actually caring about his job and not just being a right-wing rubber stamp, right up until he had a court that could not be challenged, to where the right-wing majority was literally insurmountable. And then all of a sudden he's now leading the charge on making sure that everything that the right wing does is rubber stamped. So that to me suggests that he was in on the plan the whole time. I believe he was even connected to, I'll have to double check it, but I believe he was even connected to the Heritage Foundation and stuff. Because almost all of the right wing judges that have been appointed are Heritage Foundation of some degree or another.
The most recent 4 people that were deported to Eswatini, which very tiny country in Africa.
I didn't even know that it existed. Where is it?
Yes, it is.
I know a lot of African countries, but not that.
Okay, yeah, that is one of the. It's one of the landlocked countries in South
Africa. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was a man from Cuba, Laos, Vietnam, and Yemen. Any of those sound like Eswatini to you?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody can justify deporting people that have never been there. Also, it's 10 more people in Eswatini.
They're giving them like the random spawn mod.
Yeah, random starting location. Go.
This is why I always say that like your intent is more important than like the actual policy you follow, because if you follow the letter of the law, there's technically a precedent for this. Like you'd have to stretch pretty far back. You have to stretch to some pre-Civil War Supreme Court cases, and like the reason that Liberia was founded, which
right,
and the reason the name is Liberia because it's a variation of liberty.
For those of you who don't know, the Civil War, it wasn't quite as simple as about people that wanted to abolish slavery and slaveholders. There's a lot of different interests involved. Like abolition as a philosophy is like the immediate cessation of slavery with no compensation for slave owners. But there's a lot of other stuff, like Abraham Lincoln fell more under the idea that slavery just shouldn't be allowed to spread, but his concern over slavery was mostly that white Americans couldn't compete for jobs on a level playing field. And from this came like this idea that no, we can send Africans back to Africa. So they tried to found the nation of Liberia, which was an American colony. We haven't had very many of those, but an American colony designed to take Africans back to Africa. So that's where you find like a little bit of precedent if you're a hardcore enough originalist, but that's definitely stretching. And I don't like, you're establishing a legal precedent to be able to send people in America for extrajudicial punishment under a country that we have no jurisdiction. Like,
Yep.
Right.
Also, for people that were as confused as I am, I figured out why I didn't know about Eswatini. It's because in 2018 they changed their name. They used to be Swaziland. So if anybody knew of Swaziland but not Eswatini, they're the same place.
Nice little
Fact-checking
lore
myself.
nugget. But
Um,
yeah, I it's
proud of you, Emma.
I think it's just it's so crazy to me that we're like literally like what happened, like, you know, obviously I don't support deportation, but like what happened to like sending them home?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I don't understand is why isn't it enough? Why isn't it enough to just send them where they came from? Like, I don't really like deportation in general, especially for people that their only crime was crossing the border illegally. Which, by the way, it's not technically, it's like a civil thing, not a criminal thing. Just putting that out there. If all you do is cross the border illegally, that is a civil offense, not a criminal offense. That's important because they constantly try to frame it as if it's a crime and a criminal offense, and it's not. But regardless, I've never been that much of a fan of deportation. I'm not. I guess I wouldn't say I'm so much of an open borders person necessarily, but I'm pretty fucking close. Like to me, I don't really see why, like, these borders are artificial. We've been adjusting them throughout human history. I don't see the point in really enforcing them that hard. Like, we already have laws on the books to handle people that are committing crimes. So if people come here and commit crimes, we already have laws to handle that. I just don't. I've never understood that. But regardless, if you are going to deport people, it should just be like mandated in the law that you only deport them back to the country that they belong to, or that they came from, unless they have a special circumstance like Kilmar, for example, where he could not be deported back to El Salvador because he feared for his life from the gangs there that he's supposedly a member of, apparently. But related, another transition, relating to the judges, the horrors do not stop at all. There's a judge in the South Carolina Circuit Court, Diane Goodstein. She was one of a judge that had ruled against the Trump administration, essentially. It was last month. She had temporarily blocked the South Carolina's Election Commission from releasing the voter files from the 2024 election to the Department of Justice, and then the state Supreme Court, which is right-wing, reversed that ruling. But the Trump administration was like full court press on trying to attack them, or attack her specifically for it. And Saturday night, her house was set on fire, and she wasn't at home, but 3 members of her family were, including her husband, former Democratic state senator for South Carolina, Arnold Goodstein. Him and their son have been hospitalized with serious injuries. So,
Wow.
now, can we say for certain that it was arson or accidental? No. But I don't think it's that coincidental that every time Trump, it's kind of like Libs of TikTok. Every time Libs of TikTok focuses on somebody,
Which are not libs, by the way.
Yeah. Every time Libs of TikTok focuses on somebody, they get death threats and bomb threats. That's just a fact. It's 100%. Like, that was the thing that I was the most afraid of when James and I went after UWGB for harboring Andrew Austin for so long, was that when that blog from Betsy DeVos's son came out and named us, I was like, oh, fuck, we're about to get the Libs of TikTok treatment. Here we go. Luckily, it never happened. But which is a little. I was admittedly.
Well,
I
I
was a
mean,
little
like,
offended
what-
by that. I was like, oh, why am I not important enough?
What
Yeah.
are they gonna do to us? I work at a Jimmy John's. Oh no, my career.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
we have
people
no
that have
money.
tried-
Like
people
what are
that
they
have
gonna
tried to
do?
come after me don't even like know where I work because I have my shit locked down so much, which is funny. But yeah. Anyway, so this is kind of how it works: is every time the right wing focuses on people, those people get attacked. And for example, Chief Judge for the District of Rhode Island, Jack McConnell, received more than 400 threatening voicemails, including several credible death threats, because he had issued a ruling blocking Trump's freeze on federal aid earlier this year. And of course, lots of judges, including Amy Coney Barrett, when she sided with the liberals against Trump earlier this year, they get what's called pizza doxing, which is where a pizza is mysteriously delivered to their house, and the message of that is, we know where you live. Like, it's basically the modern equivalent of the mafia putting a dead horse in your bed, or sending you a dead fish. Like,
Wow.
the symbolism of there is, we know where you live, so you better like do what we want you to do, or next time it won't be pizza.
Capitalism has made the dead horse and a pizza equivalent in cost.
Yeah, which honestly, of the two,
No.
I'd rather get the pizza. Because at least I can eat it while I call the cops and ask for protection.
Capitalism has made sure that somebody makes money off threatening and doxing.
Yeah.
As long as they
I-
tip the delivery driver, I mean.
They're not fucking going to. They
probably
don't
did,
see
yeah.
them as a human being, most likely. Conservative people don't like to tip,
No.
from my experience at least. I also found this out, which no surprise, but I thought it was interesting. Are y'all aware who Jack Posobiec is?
Unfortunately.
Vaguely
Yeah.
heard the name, but that's not the stuff I pay attention. Can you enlighten
He's
me?
a friend of Charlie Kirk, Trump, in the Trump sphere. He is of the They're in the Machines fame. He was kind of the one that was leading that election interference, overturned the election
Is
in
he still-
2020.
Is he still buddy with oh shit, Fuentes, or
Yes.
did he split with with when Charlie did?
Yeah, they split.
Okay.
But anyway, reason I bring that up is, he was very adamant 2020 was stolen, rah. He lives in Maryland.
Mhm.
He votes in Pennsylvania because it's a swing state.
What's that all about? I guess we should investigate that voter fraud.
Yeah. I just thought, I thought that was a little interesting. Who would ever imagine MAGA hypocrisy?
There's actually been maybe it's just because I'm paying more attention to it now, but it feels like there's been an uptick of that kind of stuff, because we had Co Lee on our school board here, who had to resign and is now facing criminal charges for basically lying on his election paperwork to say that he lived in the district that he was running in, but he didn't. And
Was he a MAGA?
No, it looked like he was a more lefty progressive type. But and then there was also, technically, for legal purposes, there's no proof that this is corruption. However, it gives the image of corruption, which is Brian Johnson, who sits on our city council. Turns out he's the president and CEO of On Broadway, which receives city funding. And his house is owned by them, so does he even live in his district? I don't know. We'll investigate that. Or technically, we're already investigating that, but just put that out.
Technically, we probably won't investigate it, but it's worth thinking about.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't have that much power.
Yeah.
But,
that much. We don't have any.
I mean, at this point, I'm just going to back Tarl Knight, because Tarl Knight's running against him, apparently. And Brian Johnson's a fucking dick. So I would much prefer Tarl there over Brian Johnson anyway. But anyway, sorry, I got a little off subject there. Just a random musing. There's another thing that, Dane, this is more one of your subjects that I'm sure you'd like to address a little bit. But the Global Samud Flotilla, I hope I'm pronouncing that right,
Mhm.
actually managed to break through the Israeli blockade largely because all of the other ships in the flotilla and the nations like Spain and Italy that sent ships to help them basically distracted the Israeli Navy so that way one of the ships could get through, and they managed to actually. It also bought time for Palestinians to actually go fishing.
Yeah, because they're
one of
not
the
allowed to
things that they-
fish.
Yeah.
You know,
So they were able to do that.
Nothing
And
crazy about that.
yeah, so they were able to do that and got some aid in, which was fucking awesome. But the bad part of this that honestly makes me fucking enraged, and it's not just because she's a pretty white girl, but Greta Thunberg was apparently pretty heavily tortured and assaulted when they caught her this time, which I guess was them saying, like, you know, bitch, get the fuck out, because they'd already deported her the first time and didn't harm her.
Well,
And then when Chris Smalls, who's a major labor organizer in the U.S., a black man, went to do the same thing, he was actually tortured, and it was kind of like a weird juxtaposition where the black guy was tortured and the white girl was just deported. But now I guess they've decided that they're just gonna fucking beat the shit out of anybody that shows up to try to help the people of Gaza. They supposedly also made her kiss an Israeli flag.
And fly on a plane. She's very adamant about not doing plane travel.
Yeah, no, they did that both times.
Yeah. Very swell country over there.
Yeah, the other enraging part of it isn't just that that's how they're treating people that are trying to help the people of Gaza. It's that it's taken this long for so many countries to finally wake the fuck up and try to do something about it. Because if the global community had said, look, either the U.S. gets involved to keep their little pet at bay, or we'll do it. From the start, this all could have been avoided. Like, if on October 10th, every nation around the world had stood up and said, no. If you want to go after Hamas, go for it. But you are not targeting innocent people. And if you do, we will all gather together as the global community and stop you. And because that's what Ireland's been saying. Ireland's president has been saying, look, we need to just send the UN fucking troops. Like, all of us need to get our troops together, send them over there, and basically dare the Israelis, like, either you let this aid through or we will fire. And that's the kind of shit that we have to turn them into a total pariah and make it impossible for them to do business with anybody but the US, to first of all make it obvious that we're also directly and disgustingly responsible for this, but also that they are just completely out of pocket and have been for 2 fucking years now at this point.
You know, there's a silver lining to everything. And I think one of them is this was unthinkable just a few years ago, because like a similar thing happened with apartheid in South Africa. Like, nobody on the international stage could do a damn thing about it because South Africa had one important ally, the United States, right?
Yep.
And even though there's international outrage about what Israel is doing in Palestine, nobody can do a damn thing about it because the U.S. has one important ally, the United States. But Donald Trump, in his infinite wisdom, is kind of ending American global dominance as we know of it. And because he's ending American global dominance, there's a lot of other countries that are less afraid to stick up to us now. So
yeah, it's got that like weird, like the worst person you know kind of made a great point. And it's not that he's trying to end, or at least I assume.
Oh no,
he's trying to end global US hegemony, but he is. And I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it's like, if we're not going to use that power to do something good, like stop a fucking genocide, then what's the point in us fucking having that power? Get rid of it.
I feel like though Americans are going to learn a really painful lesson about what it feels like to be treated the way we've treated the rest of the world.
Oh no, it's gonna fucking suck for us coming up. Like, people don't realize just how much of a world of hurt we're in, because even if Trump dies, first of all, the reason they've been amassing all this power is specifically so JD Vance doesn't have to run for elections or at all, because he's and nobody likes JD Vance. Trump doesn't even like JD Vance. So all this amassing of power is specifically designed so that way the next person that comes after, which is JD, because he's only there to serve the will of the billionaire tech bros, doesn't have to run for elections, doesn't have to deal with all that.
I'm going to say I do not think straight out canceling elections is going to go very well for anybody.
Oh, they don't
who
have to
does it.
cancel him. I mean, that's
No.
what Maduro did. Maduro still had the election, but then he just said, I'm not, I won even though that guy won.
So, two things. Number one, we got to talk about Venezuela some other time because
There's
I'm
a lot
not
going
a
on there.
huge fanboy, but yeah. Number one. Number two, this ties into what you were talking about. When Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck
Fuck Hakeem
Schumer,
Jeffries.
yeah, fuck both of them, when they came in to visit Donald Trump, he had Trump 2028 hats out on display. And now I know that a lot of people see that and think, oh, it's just a joke, whatever.
He's trolling.
But that is how the right works. They use trolling to normalize discourse about that. So then people just kind of accept it because they're like, it's trolling, that type of thing.
Yeah, they
And
don't
the
take
next
it
thing you
seriously.
know, when it gets announced,
It's
that
just like
either-
the Project 2025 stuff. They
Right.
were like, we don't Project 2025, never heard of it. I haven't read it. Some of it's good, even though I haven't read it, but I assume some of it's good. But not my thing. I don't do that.
Well-
Half the fucking people in his administration both times are involved in it. And then he gets in and all of a sudden he's enacting Project 2025, not just to the letter, but adding extra letters. I don't know how else to make that metaphor work. But
Well, I don't think that's the real plan. I think that's some bullshit to flood the zone and keep people distracted from some other crap that he's probably
let's
pulling.
be honest, he's not going to live until 2028. But
Yeah, I'm gonna say, like, if he's still alive, like you can already see that Trump is a wildly different person now than he was in 2016. Like, he's still an evil asshole, but in 2016 he was funny, he was sharp, he clearly knew what the fuck he was doing, and now he can't fucking say acetaminophen.
Acetaminophen.
Like, if he is still,
how do you say it? And I love that it was both, just slight aside, I love that both of them were literally in his ear telling him how to pronounce it correctly, and he was just like, and then he finally gets it after they say it 3 times, and he's just like, acetaminophen, is that okay? Like, and it's like, Jesus Christ, man.
no, if 2028, Donald Trump is going to be a goddamn shuffling corpse.
Oh, right.
He's not even, okay, listen, I don't even think
But
he's gonna
there
live-
are other people
I don't even
that
think
just
he's
so
gonna make
happen
the
to
midterms,
be
but
related to him that have the
Yeah.
same last name.
if somehow Trump
It's clearly
makes it to
about Barron.
if Trump makes it to 2028 even as a vegetable, I will believe in the QAnon medbed conspiracies, because there's no fucking way that man, I'm shocked that he's even made it this far. But like at this point, like I'm kind of like, I don't think he's even going to make it to the midterms, let alone 2028, which is why I'm like kind of at the point now where I'm like, we'll still talk about and address the shit that he's doing because it's still relevant and it still needs to be opposed. But I'm concerned about what happens next. Because it could be bad, it could be good. Like on the one hand, nobody can keep the MAGA coalition alive with Trump gone, and even his kids, which seems plausible. And then it all falls apart, and we just kind of reverse things. And
I
whatever.
think if anybody could, it would be Barron.
yeah,
Barron
he seems
can't run.
he seems like the most like well.
Yeah, but he can't run, obviously.
Can't run for a while.
He seems like the most well-adjusted. Like Ivanka and him
Saying
seem like
something.
the bar is in hell, but they do slightly clear it. Him and Ivanka, but the other two are just. Oh,
Yeah,
and
Barron's
Tiffany-
younger than me.
Donald Jr., you'd see him rubbing cocaine on his lips.
I love to make the joke that naming all of Trump's kids except for Tiffany, and then just being like, "Oh, and Tiffany exists," because that's kind of how Trump takes it. He's just
Yeah.
like, "My kids," and it never includes Tiffany.
My favorite.
Meanwhile,
Party-
my
Donald
favorite,
party-
my
Be his
favorite
favorite,
Trump
even
is
though-
Tiana.
Tiana.
It's a porn star.
Oh. Okay, fair enough.
No.
Shit,
Oh
there was
crap! I had something.
God damn it!
Oops.
Yeah,
The
like
audiation
it's
strategy.
fun. How the hell is Donald Trump the face of the fucking party of family values when, like, last week his wife got asked about him having affairs and she said that's not a concern of mine.
Okay. No,
Last
this is-
week.
I'm so okay. Sorry, you pissed me off. Okay. Because they don't give a fuck. They've never given a fuck. All of their rhetoric, they contradict themselves with other of their rhetoric or with their actions. Like, you look at it, it's the same thing with like how so many Christians are Republican, even though the entire, like, everything that they do in office violates everything that the Bible tells them to do. It's because they don't give a fuck. Like, all they care about, the only thing they believe in is whatever's most expedient to them at the time.
Radical
that's
leftist
why-
lunatics like
Right.
Jesus.
And that's why I left the church initially, because I was looking at how all of this shit was happening, and everything that they taught me growing up was basically bullshit because they were never following through on it, and they seemed way more obsessed with like making things the way that they want it here, even though supposedly they're not supposed to be of this world and they're waiting for the next one. And it's because I think deep down they are deeply insecure people in general, but they're also deeply insecure in the sense that I think that they doubt their own faith, but they don't know how to deal with that because they've convinced themselves that it's all literal and it's happening. And if it doesn't happen, they're stuck here with the rest of us. And that sucks. And a lot of that comes from the fact that the Bible consistently says over and over and over again, you will be persecuted for your faith. You will be persecuted. So the fact that they're literally the least persecuted people on the fucking planet gives them this insecurity of, wait, if I'm not being persecuted, am I actually doing my faith right? So they have to invent all this persecution to make, instead of being a normal fucking person and going, maybe I just misread this shit. They have to go, well, maybe if I just invent all this persecution and do things that push people into doing something that I could justify as persecution. Like, for example, that Michigan church shooter last week. They started, as soon as the guy crashed into the place, we already had pictures of his fucking truck with American flags, and they were like, this is Islam's war on Christianity. This is what happens when you fill Michigan full of Muslims. And it's like, bitch, it was a Christian that wanted to
sign
kill
in his
Mormons.
front yard.
Yeah, well, the stop sign. You forget the stop sign. Like, I'm so fucking, I hate these. No, sorry, I don't hate these people. I hate this shit that they've done. I hate the mindsets that they put them in. I hate the abuse that they've caused to their children, me, and everybody else that's ever been associated with them that doesn't agree with them in some way. I'm doing Trumpians accidentally. But I hate it. Like, the whole thing is just a complete mirage of, we just say this shit because it's what sounds right and what we've been saying for a long time, and but then we're just going to do whatever the fuck we need to do to get us where we want to be. And which is why the hypocrisy argument never works on them, because and why it frustrates the fuck out of me whenever people try to play the hypocrisy game with them, because it's like, first of all, they can just turn that right back around on us and it gets us nowhere. It's just a circling the fucking toilet drain with a giant fucking Trump shit in there, branded in gold leaf. And it doesn't work on them because they know they're hypocrites. They just don't give a fuck. So bringing up their hypocrisy is irrelevant because they're like, yeah, no, that's what we're doing. Fuck off, libtard. Like, their entire modus is just, if I make liberals mad and my taxes don't go up, I'm cool. I don't give a fuck. Get rid of the brown people.
I don't think it's so much intentional hypocrisy. I think it's
coming through on the camera.
I think it's more an idea that the ends justify the means. So I was talking to my dad not that long ago, right? And I don't know if you're familiar, but Peter Navarro is the White House Director of Trade and Manufacturing Policy. He got that job because Donald Trump told someone, and I think he told Donald Trump Jr. that he wanted somebody that was tough on China, right? So they find this guy named Peter Navarro, and he wrote a book. Let me find the book name. Peter. Second, you have to. Okay, yeah, he wrote a book called The Coming China Wars, right? And Donald Trump Jr. found this fucking book on Amazon. It's like, oh, this guy's really tough on China. Let's appoint him. And Peter Navarro cites this economist repeatedly in his book called Ron Vara. And Ron Vara doesn't exist. It's an anagram. It's an anagram of Navarro. So Navarro cited himself a whole bunch of times to just make up the stupid argument about why we should be tough on China. And I walked my dad through this in detail, and my dad goes, oh my God, that's amazing. What a great idea.
Oh my gosh.
Because because it's the idea that the end justifies the means. For whatever reason, my dad has decided that we need to be tough on China, and there are some reasons. There are some valid reasons why we should reconsider our global relationship with China. Like, I'm not going to say that that's not a concern. Like, China's got some shitty labor practices. I'm not a fan of how they're really playing into our whole capitalist idea of cheap disposable junk. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure me and Dane would have some disagreements about China. I'm 100% sure. But
I'm not a fan of market communism, which is kind of what they do, and it's like I want the bad parts of capitalism, but with some communism to make it look nice.
But
you know,
the point I'm making is that there's some serious critiques. There's some valid critiques you can make about the United States' relationship with China, and the impact on the American working class. But this is not any of them. This is just literally, I hate China, and it doesn't care if the reasons you hate China make any sense at all. Like, as long as you hate China, we're cool. I don't care if you're lying. Like, as long as you hate China.
Which is why, like, the Democratic maneuver of always trying to be like Republican light never fucking works, because they're like, why the fuck would I vote for the light version when I can just vote for the full price?
Why would I get the demo when I can get the whole game?
Right, you're like this. You're like just a random DLC that, like, the soundtrack that I don't fucking need, but like, this is the full product right here. Like, I didn't make the gamer meme as well as Dane just did, but whatever. Point being, like, that's the calculus that they always make, which is why every time they go right wing, they fucking lose.
Yeah.
Also, I think we should have like a whole episode where we just debate stuff like China. That would be fun, I think.
We can. We can. James and I have talked about
because we haven't really had a debate episode. We just have discussion episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fresh off of reading a book by Xi Jinping himself, so
I'll read it in advance. I mean, I was going to read it anyway because it sounded interesting when you brought it up, but like, I'll read it ahead of that to make sure that I'm on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. I mean, it doesn't really like expound on many of the policies like super in depth, because it's just a compilation of like speeches and letters that he wrote. So it's like very brief, like, hey, this is our idea. And then like, they don't really like go into like actual tangible like stats and numbers and that type of thing. But I think it's still definitely worth a read.
And just as like a little aside, one of the things for our viewers, one of the things that I wanted to work on this week, and I'm hoping to get the first one up this week, is to start doing little mini videos that are more bite-sized stuff where, like, for example, I really like Lenin, State, and Revolution. So I can do an episode where I kind of talk about Lenin, State, and Revolution and stuff like that. I can kind of go into my own personal, I can go into my own personal journey with Marxism and leftism where, like, I kind of identify myself in a weird spot where I just say that I'm a Marxist. I jokingly will say that I'm a communist, but I prefer to identify seriously as a Marxist because at the end of the day, Marxism is just critique the system that exists, come up with an alternative. What that alternative is doesn't matter. Like, Marx wasn't even necessarily trying to come up with his own system until people literally begged him to do it. And then he was like, all right, fine, here's communism. And he didn't live long enough after that to fully develop it, which is why there's been so many different variations of it since.
That's where Lenin comes in.
Right. And so my personal thing has always been, I like being a Marxist because that leaves me open to, I'm not basically shoeboxing. Shoehorning myself into, I'm not shoeboxing myself into like a specific ideology or whatever. I'm just critiquing the system and then coming up with alternatives. And it makes it it's also a lot less charged to say Marxist because, like, Fox News has been pushing Marxism as a bad thing as long as they've done socialism and communism. But
the Marxists, the anarchists.
But from my upbringing, at least, Marxism was never the one that they really pounded. It was always the socialism and communism. And now most of our society is already even
socialism isn't even communism, though.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's a stupid
thing.
Like,
although a lot of communists view it as like a transitional period too.
Well, that is what it is.
Sense, but yeah,
depends. Like, because I would not identify as a communist, but I would identify somewhere on the socialist spectrum.
I think
yeah,
I
mean,
don't.
it's quite-
I don't identify it as.
I think we could get
identify it.
socialism a lot easier than communism just because of that, because a lot more
Well-
people are willing to identify as socialist. But
I mean, it is like there has never been a communist country. Like,
Yeah, no,
a
not technically.
being a country in and of itself is antithetical. You
Yeah,
know,
whenever they're like, whenever
world
they're
isn't
like,
ready for
Marxism is
that.
all about like like authoritarian government. I'm like, you realize that he actually says to abolish government, right? Like,
yeah.
also China doing their market
Theory-
economy shit when he says abolish currency is like,
Well, that's why China's not communist. But
Yeah, exactly.
theory, we could have a
Yeah,
theory
we
night
should.
episode. I think that
Yeah.
would be very
'cause
beneficial.
I think we all three bring very different perspectives on that stuff, because James doesn't go nearly as far as the two of us go, but also I probably don't go as far as you by sticking with Marxism myself.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I don't, depending on what circles I'm in, I'll usually just say socialist, but
It's
otherwise sometimes I say communist. If I really know the person,
Yeah.
I'll just call myself a communist. But
But that was the other thing too, is I
Works
also
for a
wanted to do, like,
corporation.
yeah, really.
listen.
No, I think
If
it
not
would be
communism,
really,
then why communism shaped?
he is communism shaped.
What? Oh, the nails.
But
The
no,
nails.
Fucking
the
metrosexual.
Palestine flag, the books by Mao on your desk.
You have a
Yes.
Che Guevara T-shirt, don't you?
I
Look,
actually do not.
Does
have
that
a Che
Kirby have a
Guevara.
police hat? Is he a pig?
But I think
It's a train conductor.
Oh,
I
okay.
think-
Wow, I'm stupid. I was
think
like,
it-
is that a cop?
I mean, it
he
does
has
low key look like a cop hat.
I think it'd be great to do a theory night and like to push back on each other, because otherwise we might give the impression that we're trying to alienate everyone to the right of Mao, which is definitely not what we're trying to do.
Even
And
though I named one of the kittens at our place Chairman Meow because it rhymes with Chairman Meow.
yeah, but cat. Well, that makes
People were like, "How'd you come up with that one?" And I was like, "Oh, you know."
But I had another point I was going to make. The hard thing when you're talking about anything leftist, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure when we have theory night, I'm going to disagree with Dane on a lot of things. But you listen to Trump and what the media says, the radical liberals, literally the liberals are about as far from you get as radical. The liberals are people that are pro.
Which is why we are so frustrated with them. Like,
Yeah, they're just like, nope, pro-business, maintain the status quo, consumer economy. Like, that is not radical. That is just literally keeping things exactly that they are, but you might throw a bone to some minority group every once in a while. Might.
which is exactly why I'm like, I'm no longer like, I'm out of blue no matter who phase. I was to stop Trump, and now I've realized that that's a fucking garbage situation because, well, first of all, we didn't stop Trump, so it's irrelevant now. But second of all, they're not even following that by not endorsing Zohran Mamdani. Fuck you, Hakeem Jeffries. Fuck you. You're a spineless cretin. Get the fuck out of the party, or at least the fuck out of leadership, because you are a lot of things, but a leader's not fucking one of them. Anyway, not that he's
Damn.
watching this, but also
Damn.
fuck you, Chuck Schumer. The Baileys don't exist. You're literally psychotic.
Did you
Anyway.
did you fit in your classic Reagan? Or is
I
it,
did
uh,
earlier, but it was
Yeah,
kind of
we were
went under
talking
the
about
radar. So fuck Ronald Reagan.
There
Get
we
it
go.
in now.
is
Twice recently.
fuck Hakeem Jeffries gonna be the
It might, honestly, because fuck
Um,
Hakeem Jeffries. Like, he's literally one of the worst people in government right now, and a major part. Like, he's the series that I wanted to do eventually of like the how we got here kind of like villain lineup with Ronald Reagan, Joe Biden, like, you know, on and on. It's definitely going to have a Hakeem Jeffries episode because fuck Hakeem Jeffries. Fuck it. I'm going to do a fuck Hakeem Jeffries every episode. Until that guy's out of leadership, I'm doing it.
When he got in, I think a lot of us were like, well, you know what? I'm just fucking glad he's not Pelosi. They ain't much better.
Yeah, and now that we've seen what he's done, we're like, God damn, Pelosi was way better at this than he is. Like,
Hey, Pelosi, she's good at leadership. She's just corrupt.
but also she knew how to play partisan politics. Like, she legitimately hated Republicans, and you could see it. Like, even when she was saying stuff like, we need a strong Republican Party, she was saying, not these fuckers. Like, and well, I don't. agree that we
I
need
will
a
be the
strong-
first. No, we do. I'll be the first person to say that, like, the sign of a healthy democracy is a solid conservative movement, a conservative movement that engages in good faith, because it is really fucking essential. Because conservatism, by definition, is a resistance to change, an appeal to tradition. And with a rapidly changing world, you need a reasonable, good faith voice saying, like, hey, let's slow down. Let's not change everything too quickly. We don't know what these changes are going to do. Like, that is fucking essential to a functioning democratic government. But what we have right now is not a healthy, good faith conservative movement. It is a bunch of reactionary radicals.
What I was gonna say too, as like a little bit of pushback on that, was when the fuck are we gonna have that version of the Republic? Like, we didn't even have it before Trump. Like, I would not consider Bush and all of them, which are the classical Republicans.
Bush is a neocon.
Yeah, and also, is that really, like, I know that we say that because we like democracy and shit, but is that really, like, do we really need somebody in an ever-changing world to say, maybe we shouldn't change? Because that's what it ends up doing. It ends up being, let's not change anything, or let's change it in a way that's worse. And I don't see how that's helpful when the world is, because now we're sitting here trying to bring back coal and fossil fuels while the rest of the world is literally advancing right around us. I'm gonna keep doing this while we're talking about wrap up.
I'm gonna butt in on Dane before he says something, and I'm gonna say that, you know, from the other perspective, it doesn't always look what you want, but it is also true that if all three of us are thinking the same thing, then two of us ain't thinking.
Interesting.
And you need that outside perspective.
That can be saved for debate episode.
Well, hey, the llama said that we had to have a little bit of disagreement in order to be a legitimate local podcast. So, you know, here we go.
The llama.
Well,
yeah.
I was going to try to post this episode up there, but I guess I won't. Just kidding.
Post it.
I'll still
Title
post
it. Fuck the llama.
It's not like he listens to the entire episode anyway. I highly doubt that.
But that being said, you know, capitalism calls for us.
Yes.
Homework
for you guys,
calls.
I work for a nonprofit.
Yeah. I mean, their nonprofit industrial complex is a thing. But yeah, we will be having Francesca Hong on the show, looking at probably late October. And we will, from there, start to wrap up. So remember to get active, get wise, and get organized.
Donate to Francesca Hong.
Yes.
Fuck Ronald Reagan. Fuck Hakeem Jeffries. Free Palestine. Fuck ICE.
Yes.
I'm an atheist. I don't believe in hell, but Ronald Reagan makes me wish it was real.
And Hakeem Jeffries.
Free Luigi.
Free Luigi.